Alright, so like I always told you guys, these kind of things can shift from from one moment to another. Just give me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
From one moment to another, and we're evacuating. I'm lost for words. I'm only used to seeing that on the news. Somebody else, but never me. Today, it happens to the Lopez family. Pray for Houston, guys. Well, by the time you see this, it's probably going to be over, but I'm lost for words. I have our valuables as much as I can here in the attic. My brother is helping me put stuff up, getting ready for the shopper. So we're putting our valuables up here. I know the image quality is probably not great, but take it from me, we're doing that right now.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization. Every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, every saint and sinner in the history of our species.
Today is 1 year since Hurricane Harvey occurred. For those affected, I will share a video with a few stories that some of the closest people to me don't even know. Warning, it may actually be boring to some. And cursing may actually be involved. It may not. I will try my best to exclude it. The idea was for the whole family to actually be here and share their experiences and their feelings with you guys, but I think it will turn sour and sad very quickly. And believe me, this is not going to be another sad Harvey video. I'll do my best for it not to be sad, but Okay, that was actually pretty sad. Sorry, it's going to be pretty much the saddest part of the video. I am primarily recording this for my future kids, for my nephews, for the future generations to actually see what happened. So kids, that's what happened. That's what we had to actually go through, and we succeeded. Putting that aside, we actually were hit hard by Harvey. We had a lot of financial loss. We had 5 cars. I'll tell you, the Fit, the gray Honda Fit that you saw earlier on the pictures, and the red Volkswagen were brand new cars at one point, bought in 2012, and we were about to actually finish them off, paying them off. We owed like $2,000 on the Honda Fit, and we owed like $2,400 on the actual red Volkswagen, and they both got flooded. And although we actually got some money back from the insurance, which, by the way, it was such a pain in the butt to actually deal with them. I remember that we had to provide keys, okay? You had to provide keys to the vehicles. Now, these are flooded vehicles, right? We evacuated a house on the spot, on the go. So the last thing I thought about doing was grabbing my car keys, right? Who knows where they were? But okay, you needed the keys, and the adjuster needed to actually have a way into the car. Now, these cars are electronic.
Okay, so the adjuster said I can take a look at the car if it's not open. So he doesn't have a place for you to open it. I have no option but to break the window so that he can come and take a look.
I know what you're thinking. You see that there's a handle and you're thinking there's a keyhole, and you'll be wrong. There is a handle, there is no keyhole, and there is no button on the inside of the door. The only way to open it will be with the remote. The battery is dead, and there's no keyhole on the door. So that's that. Proceed.
Bingo. Whew.
So it's electronic, but we should be able to get a pretty good idea. All right, so you can take a look now.
So now that we have the fun out of the way, it was time for us to actually enter the house and find out how extensive the damage was. So Mark and I go to the house to step foot into the home for the very first time, and as soon as he opens the doors, he just goes, "Oof!" The smell was horrible. We started walking the house, and I started understanding the size of the problem that I had in my hands. I just didn't know what to do at the time. I was going through my house step by step, and I couldn't recognize it. It was a very, very sad moment, I tell you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Once I actually processed all of that up here, fear really took over. And I'm gonna go pretty fast here because I don't wanna bore you, but my family and friends stepped in just as fast. They said, Tavo, what do you need? We're gonna help you. When are we going? And we went. In one weekend, we had the house cleaned up and stripped down to the studs. Amazing, right? There's no way I could have done it without him, no doubt. Thanks. And fear took over once more when I noticed that the house was pretty damaged and I just didn't know where the money was gonna come from. I think some of my family members were thinking about the same thing, and Stephanie approached me and said, Tavo, I'm gonna actually get a fundraiser going for you. And I said, no, you're not. You're not. Being a proud guy. Eventually, fear showed its face once more, and I said, okay, let's do it. And we started posting everywhere. I had to humble myself and accept the fact that I needed help. And we were lucky enough to actually fund $3,500, I think it was. All thanks to you guys. And you're probably watching today. I still, to this day, don't know who actually did and who didn't. But to those that did, thank you guys. It really helped out. You wouldn't believe. Corey Construction put me on their fundraiser, being a client. But that's what people do in situations like this. I will forever be grateful to everyone that was actually involved in our well-being. And thank you, Mike and Brian, Corey owners, for thinking of me as family as well. I do want to take the time to actually clear one of the biggest misconceptions one of my friends created in Facebook. He actually accused me of actually not being humble because I went to a steak dinner with my wife, and how could it be that I went to a steak dinner if weeks before I was begging for money, right? So he asked me to be smart about this. I guess that when people do not act with malice, we don't watch out for things like that. And I had nothing to hide. I mean, I kept working. I own a company. I just wanted you to know that the money you guys actually donated to my family was actually put to good use. It was almost 2 months of mortgage. So I don't know what this person was trying to do, if he wanted to make an example out of me or what, but he was completely out of place. And then I heard it again from somebody else, and I started worrying about what if anybody else saw that comment, because it was public on Facebook. So I just wanted to actually come and make it clear that I don't take advantage of people. And if you know me on a personal level, you know that. Okay, don't go yet. We're not done. Now that we got that out of the way, welcome to my house. This garage holds most of my belongings, and they've been here for a year in my brother's garage. Anyhow, I would like to take you back a little bit, just before we had access to the actual house. I know you've seen me and Mark access it for the very first time, but there was a process. There was a process before we could access the house. So before we could enter it, we had to wait about roughly 2 weeks. If you live in Canyon Gate and you're watching, you remember this. So 2 weeks, because we found out during the process that our community, our subdivision, is built as a backup for the reservoir. So yeah, we found that out, and we had to wait for the levels of water to actually lower so that we can take cars and trucks and whatever else needed. But we heard rumors of looting taking place in our community, right? So there we are a week later, not knowing if we were affected by robbers, etc. And I tried to send my drone several times, but buildings, trees get on the way and it's way too far. So we had no option but to actually take a leap of faith, my brothers and I, and we went to the property. Now, as you can imagine, there was nowhere to park. We parked all the way on Fry Road. If you're familiar with the area, you know that's a hell of a walk. And we did it. We did it. It's, I believe, 1.5 miles one way and 1.5 back. So 3 miles doesn't sound like much, but we're walking through mud, you know, muddy soil, rocks, debris, you name it. It was pretty uncomfortable, pretty long, wearing plastic boots with socks, and it sucked. But shortly after that, we begun rehabbing, and that's where my life took a turn forever. Okay, I'll tell you. Just before Harvey, I was actually poking around the internet about buying houses and fixing houses and flipping houses and all of the above. And I reached out to Danny, a friend of mine, and I said, I want to do that, Danny. How can I do it? He's like, go to this seminar, and if you like it, we'll talk more. I ended up buying the DVD from the guy teaching the class, and I was hooked immediately. Shortly after that, I invested in a mentorship program, and it's been the best decision of my life. And we've been pretty successful since then. Now, the construction business, my cousin Victor has been of huge help. He's been helping me with things that I just didn't know about. He's a licensed general contractor, and he's got a company of his own. So I've been truly blessed, guys. Of course, I was upset that Harvey happened and angry and everything else that came with, but I was able to actually transform the situation of my house being completely destroyed to the studs. And I was able to see every single stage of a rehab, okay? That's huge. That's, wow. So I started actually fixing my own place, and it's been going slowly. It's not ready yet. We're probably 85% done. But we have to wait for funds, right? So I ended up refinancing the house. Well, I'm going to refinance in the next 2 weeks because the SBA, it's giving me all sorts of problems to actually continue to give me money advancements. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to refinance it, pay you guys, pay the current mortgage, and carry on. So it's been a fun ride. It's really been a fun ride. And construction, oh, I love construction. See, final thought. Life is always gonna throw curveballs. Life is always gonna throw curveballs at you. It's raining today. You wanna guess what day is it today? August 29th, 2018. A year ago, I was actually being evacuated. A year and a half before that, I had been cancer. Yeah, you heard me. Cancer. So I'm going to give you with one final thought. We know that we have to be strong to walk through life. We know that we must never let ourselves down. So if you're taking anything from this video, I hope it was the fact that it's not okay to quit. that you must always keep your spirits up and keep fighting. Wow, it's really, really coming down. So, you know what? There's actually one more thing my beautiful family want to say to all of you. Should we play the video? All right, here we go. Let's watch it. Thank you! Even Brownie said thank you.
Ven, siéntate.
Diciendo thank you.
Sí.
Okay guys, I'm actually leaving now. It's time to go edit this video, put it on social media, and show you guys that anything is possible if you want it bad enough. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.